Have a new guest today, and her name is Rabea. I'm grateful that you accepted my invitation. Because you're a photographer, to begin, maybe you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Rabea. Also on Instagram, I'm known as I am Rabea. It's more of a profile about my journey into photography, what I'm doing, what my shoots look like. Um, but yeah, I am a photographer first, and I am also dabbling into I'm dabbling into videography as well now, which is a whole new world in itself. But I'm based in Birmingham. I'm nearly 30, and it's just something I've actually started to take more seriously recently, which actually might sound a little bit controversial, because a lot of the times, a lot of careers start really early on. We start it at beginning of our 20s and so forth. Um, so to sort of change my career and go into photography now when I'm about to start my 30s, it's not really like ideal because I feel like what is it like our society sort of teaches us like by 30 everyone has like their life figured out. They know what they're doing, they're settled and they've got a house and kids and all this
Mm-hmm.
good stuff, right? Do you know what I mean?
Because I'm nearly your age too.
No way, mashallah. You look young for your age, so
Thank
girl.
you. So I have the same, not struggles, but alhamdulillah, I have a good supporting system. They don't disturb me with these questions. But when I'm in the clinic, they say, "So when's the time to have a partner or to have kids or something?" But it's coming.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And honestly, it's always an awkward question though, isn't it? It's a bit like, how do you answer that? Am I supposed to have a timeline? Do
I
you know what I
get it
mean?
more from non-Muslims than
Oh.
from Muslims itself because maybe my surrounding are more
Mm-hmm.
non-Muslims. So when they say like, when's the time like you're getting, I don't know, not older, but you're getting more mature. Um, and I somehow didn't find the partner yet. Somehow.
I love that. I love that. That is strange. You know what? Don't know how
Yeah.
it's happened, but it is what it is.
What about you?
So personally, I have a 5-year-old daughter. I was married, but Alhamdulillah, I'm now soloing with my daughter, and it's been a journey. It's a journey that I don't know, I don't feel like we cover enough of, and I feel like when women do talk about these struggles of being like a single parent and so forth, it can get taken in two ways. One way, it can look like, oh my God, she's complaining, like just get on with this, whatever. And the other aspect, it can be met with kindness and also a community, actually. Alhamdulillah, since I did become like a single mom, I have like my community of single mom friends who really are supportive and understanding. And do you know what? I think had it not been for them being there, this whole journey would have been so much harder. Maybe I wouldn't even be where I am today, had they not been there to like basically pick me up every time I've been like really down and feeling like I can't go on any further. Does that like make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, your surrounding is important.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. So, alhamdulillah, can't complain. I've been lucky in that sense. One door
Mm.
might have closed, but another one definitely opened.
Mm. Okay, so let's start the interview.
Hmm.
There are 13 questions.
Yeah.
11 questions are the same questions for everybody, and two questions are direct to your business.
Okay.
So the first question is, how was your childhood?
My childhood was quite interesting, in the sense of I moved around a lot. I moved countries. So originally I was born in the Netherlands. then came to the UK when I was about 9, 10 years old. But even once I did come to the UK, there was still a lot of moving around for me. I used to live in London for a while, lived down in Bournemouth for a while, and then I moved up north, which was like, West Yorkshire. Lived there for quite a while before I recently moved down to Birmingham. Um, so I think in that sort of sense, I've never felt like a place quite felt like home, because I was never anywhere long enough to like sort of attach my childhood to it. Does that
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
make sense? So I think in that sense, it's always been easy to sort of let go of things because you realize that nothing um is ever permanent in life. Like just to get up and leave that place and then start over doesn't feel as scary as like for somebody who might have never moved in their life. So a lot of my childhood was around, constantly making new connections and meeting new people and starting over and over and over again. Um, but also as the eldest daughter of an immigrant parent. So my parents were the first immigrants to come to out of the family to come to Europe. It was a difficult one in the sense of like parents had so many different expectations. They had so many fears that um normal immigrant parents have, oh, will the West corrupt my child? And, you know, um, trying to sort of shelter me from so many things. Uh, and maybe ideally, had they maybe not been as strict, for example, maybe things would have been a little bit more different. It's like, when you say, don't touch that red button, and then all you really want to do is touch that red button.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the sort of things that we grew up with. And I think a lot of us can resonate with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially um for us lot who and a lot of our parents are first immigrant parents, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mine too,
Um,
yeah.
so it was a lot of like my own personal experience was any letters that would come home, I was their translator. Um, it meant any sort of like meetings that they had to go to or whatever sort of like, you know, big adult stuff. Um, I had to go along and help them out and stuff because there was no one else to sort of translate for them or help them understand what's going on and stuff. So I think in that sort of sense, um, kind of in a way, you have to grow up a bit quicker than maybe like other kids would have to because they wouldn't have that responsibility on them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, that was more or less what like my childhood was or what I remember it as. But alhamdulillah, like I I'm not complaining about it because I feel like it's really shaped who I've become. Um, a lot of it's made me grow beyond my years. So I'm definitely grateful. I'm grateful what I've been through as well, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Next question. How's the relationship with your parents?
It's I think that's always a question that throws people off, doesn't it? Um, it's been an interesting one. Like it's there's been times when the relationship has been really great. There's been times when the relationship hasn't been that great. I think especially like through the teenage years, it was quite difficult. Um, you know, you're a teenager feeling like you know the world, and your parents are just like, no, you don't know the world. You need to take a step back and all that sort of stuff. So I think those years were quite turbulent, I'd say. Um, but now, alhamdulillah, especially since I became like a parent myself, it's really stabilized my relationship with my parents. Um, and it's also helped me understand them a lot better. And not in the typical way of you know how our parents say, wait till you become, older and you're in our shoes and you have your own kids, then you'll understand. It's not more from that perspective. It's more of a like from an emotional aspect. I think I respect them a lot more for everything they've gone through and what they chose to put up with, to try and give us like a better future. Um, so it takes a lot of growing, and it's also understanding that, like the privileges we have now with us being born in like the West, our parents didn't have that, which also meant emotional maturity wasn't something that they had as well, or their parents showed them. And it's a luxury that we actually get to understand that now. Um, so from that aspect, I feel like I've really grown a lot more closer to my parents, and I can give them more grace when they don't understand me or they have a certain way of doing something, because I'm like, it's okay. Like you guys didn't have all the resources I have now. Does that sort of make sense?
It makes sense. I do understand that.
Yeah, so yeah, alhamdulillah, like our relationship now is really great. I think every time I go home, like my parents are like, finally the home is starting to feel like home again when you're here. So alhamdulillah, can't complain. I think the relationship's really great now.
How's your relationship with money?
Oh, uh, that's a um that's a hard question. I think that's also more like a roller coaster ride for me. Um, there was a lot of things that sort of like happened in life, especially like once I got divorced and stuff. I had to try and figure out, what I want to do and how I want to be. So the idea in my head was that, I want to show my daughter, be an example to my daughter that you can have like your own business or have your own dreams and try and follow those dreams whilst also being a parent, whether it be single or in a marriage and stuff. So with that ideology, it meant that I did take some hard decisions and do things that was a bit risky, um, especially with a child. But alhamdulillah, do you know what? At the end of the day, our risk is written, and another blessing is that when you have a child, like they bring their own risk as well.
Hmm.
So when you do take that risk, like it's so, so important to have faith that Allah will pull you through no matter what happens. Like there'll always be means of whether it be money, whether it be like food, anything, it will just come as long as you have that faith, if that makes sense. So in that sort of sense, I think my relationship with money it's good, but it could be better. I wish it could be better in the sense of I think there's not many examples of women, especially Muslim women, who are wealthy. And I think not having that sort of role model is something I wish I could create one day, inshallah, for other women to sort of follow and lead and become more financially literate.
Mm.
Um, because I feel like we're really lacking in that,
Yeah.
especially as Muslim women.
We really like wealthy Muslim women. Just to
Yes.
look at them and say, okay, they achieved it, we can achieve that too. I
Yes.
totally understand this. Next question. What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? So I'm afraid of failing as a mother. That's my biggest fear. I don't want my daughter to ever turn around and say, you were X, Y, and Z to me, and you could have been more supportive for me in this way and that way, or you weren't a friend that I could turn to. I think that's the biggest fear, actually. My daughter ever turning around and saying, you weren't a friend that I could turn to. Because what do we do as humans? We always end up turning to our friends for support first, right?
Hmm.
Rather than going to our parents. And I feel that's because they've not created that environment for us.
Hmm.
And in that sense, like, I don't want my daughter to ever feel like she can't come to me for anything. And whether that be support as a friend, whether that be support as a parent, whether it be financially, I just wouldn't want her to ever turn around and say something like that to me. Um, so so yeah, that's definitely become my number one fear.
If you were not afraid of anything, what would you do?
I wasn't afraid of anything. Um, I think if I didn't have to worry about money and I didn't have to worry about like um society or like what family members would say and stuff, I would definitely start living my life more to the fullest in the sense of I'd be traveling more. I would have been maybe moving around more, living more life on the edge, not knowing what tomorrow will quite bring. Um, I think that would have been more my life if I didn't have those fears, basically. So yeah.
So I'm starting to ask the two questions about your business.
Mhm.
Why are you a photographer?
So photography is something that I've always taken interest in from quite a young age. In fact, like my dad used to, and we've all got that where we've got videos of us as a child.
Mm,
Um, and I've always loved that, the nostalgia of that and the pictures and, flicking through the album and seeing all these memories, and it all being stuck in that frame. Do you know what I mean?
mhm,
And once I got my hands on a camera around the age of 14, I really started to resonate with it in the sense of like, I like the idea of capturing, and I loved that there was so much to tell in a picture. Even though it's just one frame, there's so much you can tell from a simple picture. So that led me to sort of do photography more. I then came across like communities of photographers, got to learn a little bit about photography from them and stuff. And then the next thing I knew, I started to create more, not create, but I started to have more of an eye. I started to feel more creative. And I thought, okay, do you know what? Photography is my calling, is the one thing I really do enjoy um spending time and enjoy learning about. And it's rewarding because I take that picture and it's my piece of art, if that makes sense. Even though
mhm.
it's a picture, it's still an art from my perspective. Um, and it's always rewarding to have other people be like, oh my God, that's such an amazing picture and so forth and whatever and stuff. So from that, it's sort of uh propelled forward as like a photography business basically.
Mm.
So yeah.
The next question is, how can someone book you?
The best way at the moment is to send me a DM on Instagram or email me. And usually just give me a little bit more detail about what sort of photo shoot you want, what the aim is. I tend to like to go through like a mood board with my clients and stuff. So we're both on the same page on what you want out of your photo shoot.
I think I have to come to the UK to be booked.
You do.
Rabea.
Do you know what? When you do next time, please let me know. It'd be really nice to catch up over some coffee and stuff.
Yeah, you're not coming to London. So
I wouldn't mind coming to London.
you're coming sometimes to London for events and these things.
Ye- Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I have shoots in London as well and stuff. So I do travel everywhere. Wherever the shoot needs to take place, I tend to travel there. So all over the UK really.
With your daughter or just without?
Sometimes I take my daughter along, uh,
Mm,
and sometimes I leave her with my parents.
mm.
It just depends on, how long the shoot will be and so forth. Usually, if it's a bit more local, I take her along with me. And it's quite interesting because um, she tells me, she'll be like, Mommy, no, not like this. It has to be like this. Tell her to stand like this and whatever else and stuff. So she really starts to get involved. And a good friend of mine actually bought her a little camera. So
Hmm.
she'll go around and she'll like take her own pictures on her camera and stuff. And honestly, it's really cute. But already she's like during the day she's gonna be a teacher, and during the evening she'll be a photographer like mummy. So I'm like, okay. My girl's got her goals sorted out as well.
I find it inspiring and good for your daughter to see you as an inspiring mom who works and achieves her goals and is doing everything. And mashallah, keep going. It's really
Yeah.
good. Like when I like sometimes I have the fear when I'm married, like can I continue work? Like am I going to stop? Because um I can do I don't know. Like I'm scared to leave my job as a dentist and just be a full-time mom. And I don't want to be that. But let's see.
Do you know what? I think it's all going to be dependent on the person that you get married to. I think especially in a household where you've got two people, it's always going to be a case of trying to understand and have like a balance between you both. So inshallah, you find the right partner who'll be there to support you, so that you can be both a mom and a dentist at the same time. Because, it is inspiring to see your parents do a career whilst they're also looking after you. I mean, maybe at the time you might not understand it, but later on you do.
Mhm.
And and I think that's one of the ways that we encourage our children to do more with their lives you know, than to not do anything at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, inshallah, you'll find the right person to like help you be both. But
Mm.
also don't just I'd also like to say though, like being a career woman is great, but also being a mother is just as great as well. And being a mother is also a career. Like we don't
It's
actually
a full-time
realize
job.
it is a
I
full-time
heard that very
job.
often. Yeah.
Honestly, it's a full-time job. So I think personally, if I'm genuinely honest with you, if I could take a step back and not have to work or like work, like my photography business is something I could do as and when, I would choose to do that if I had like a husband. But because obviously as a single mom, like I've got to work because that's the only way to provide for my daughter. Um, I think I wish I could have spent a bit more time being a mom to her than having to work as hard as I do right now. So don't be so hard on yourself and say, oh, I wish I could be more of a dentist as well as a mom. It's okay. Being a mom is a job in itself. So inshallah. And also our kids only need us for like so many years, and then after that, that's it. And this childhood, it finishes. Once it finishes, that's it. We'd never get to see that again. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
inshallah, don't worry, don't stress too much. Try and enjoy the childhood that they have, as well, inshallah.
So back to the question, how can someone book you? You said someone can send you DM on Instagram.
Yes, send me DMs currently. I am gonna be setting up like a booking form and stuff as well. I think that will make it a bit more convenient. But right now, I prefer to get DMs explaining what sort of shoot you had in mind, when you want it, for how long, and then yeah, I get back and we sort of go through like a concept plan of what you want out of your shoots and stuff as well so far.
That's interesting.
So yeah.
So, back to the direct questions regarding psychology.
Hmm.
If money is guaranteed for life, for you and your family and your generation after you,
Hmm.
but the condition is you have to choose a job, what would it be?
Um, I think 100% I carry on doing photography. Like that would be, it is my ideal. alhamdulillah, so far. And it would be something I think, see, as a photographer, what you don't realize is the amount that you actually have to invest into yourself, which is the amount that you have to invest into equipment, good lighting, and so
Mm.
forth. That stuff is expensive. Lenses are expensive. So if all of that could be guaranteed, as in money and wealth is guaranteed, then I'd 100% carry on being a photographer and put that money into like more cool lenses so I can get even better pictures.
Yeah, I do understand that. Miss Rabia in one word.
Um, I would say ambitious. I'm quite ambitious.
If you have your own heart in your hands,
Mhm.
what would you advise it?
The advice that I would give to my own heart is to let go and not to worry so much about what the future holds and to be in the moment that I'm in and not to worry, literally not to worry about the future because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Inshallah, whatever happens will happen. There'll always be a way out.
What's the best moment in your life?
The best moment in my life was definitely when my daughter got handed to me in my arms. I think that moment, there's nothing that will ever beat that moment. Having her like look up to me, and there was this sort of recognition in her face of like it's like I got to see her put two and two together, where all this time she's heard my voice, and then now she's like, oh, so this voice has a face. This is her. And that was honestly the best moment. I was like, can't, I'm so lucky in that sense.
Any regrets?
Um, I think I wouldn't I wouldn't say that there is any regrets because everything that's happened has led me to where I am now. Maybe I could have been in a better position. However, you know, every turbulence, every problem that I've ever faced has made me who I am now. And I think anything that I regret would take away from who I am. So there's no point in me regretting my past. Alhamdulillah, it shaped me to be how I am today. So I wouldn't say that I've got any regrets.
The last question is, what makes you you?
I think so. What makes me me is that I'm such a easy go, chill, sort of happy, bubbly person.
Mm.
Um, it's not often that you'll find, wherever I go, I tend to like lighten the mood. Um, I That's really a hard question. Um, yeah, I feel that my main thing is my personality. I'm a very much anybody that is usually around me usually feels at ease. Um, and I think I feel I make people comfortable enough to like for them to open up to me
Hmm.
or, talk about anything.
That's true.
Um,
You did that, although we did meet, haven't met before.
you've been so easy to talk to as well, so it's not all me.
Really?
Don't give
Thank
me all the
you.
credit. So yeah, I think that would be it really. My personality makes me me, I guess.
Nice. I loved the interview.
Yeah,
Um, we ended. If you want to say anything, please go ahead. And if not, then we're done.
yeah, that's it really.
Okay, all right. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, go on, salam.